Many celebrate what they call Good Friday. But was Jesus really crucified on a Friday if he was in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights? Given that Jesus resurrected on a Sunday, is that even possible? In this study, we'll answer the vital questions. Was Jesus really crucified on a Good Friday? What year was he crucified? What day of the week was he crucified? In addition, we will answer the question, what day and year did Jesus resurrect? What we know for sure is that Jesus was crucified during the feast of the Passover, the 14th day of Nisan to be exact, which is also called Preparation Day, John 19:31. And unquestionably, Jesus rose again from the dead early Sunday morning, John 20, verse 1. In addition, most scholars agree that Jesus was around the age of 32 to 33 years and a half old when he died on the cross. So getting the exact year and date Jesus was crucified can also give us the exact year he was born. What year was Christ crucified? Many renowned and respected scholars like E.W. Bullinger placed the crucifixion of Christ around 29 AD. However, modern scholars lean towards the dates April 7, 30 AD or April 3, 33 AD. But the problem is that consequently, both dates fell on a Friday. Is it more likely for Christ to have been crucified on April 7, 30 AD, April 3, 33 AD, or April 15, 29 AD? How can we check which date is correct? By knowing exactly which day of the week Christ was really crucified, one can eliminate the dates and years that are irrelevant and come to more plausible dates. Was Jesus really crucified in what we call Good Friday? Two emphatic scriptures make a statement that Christ had to be in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. Mark 8:31 states, in the wise, and he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. Even Matthew 12:40 states, for as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. You see, without doubt, Christ had to be in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. Also read John 2:19 through 21 and 1 Corinthians 15 verse 4. Another fact is without controversy is that Jesus resurrected sometime early Sunday morning in the first day of the week, Matthew 28 verse 1 through 6, Mark 16 verse 1 through 4, Luke 24 verse 1 and 2, and John 20 verse 1. If Jesus was crucified on a Friday like most believe, how could he be in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights and resurrect on a Sunday? And how could the resounding statement that Mark 8:31 makes, saying that Jesus would resurrect after 3 days, be accurate if Christ resurrected on a Sunday? In order for Jesus to be 3 days and 3 nights in the tomb, he had to be crucified not on a Friday, but on a Wednesday, and be put in the tomb Wednesday evening, no later than 6 o'clock p.m. The common high Sabbath mistake. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for the Sabbath day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. John 19 verse 31. But wait, doesn't this scripture say that Jesus had to be placed in the tomb before the Sabbath, which was a Saturday? Here is where many make the common high Sabbath or high day mistake. Sabbath in the Hebrew is the word Shabbat and comes from 876-73 Shabbat, and is a prime root or primitive root to repose. That is to say, desist from exertion, used in many implied relations, causative, figurative, or specific. Surely, Sabbath means rest, or a day of rest, or a rest day, and not necessarily a Saturday. What is a high Sabbath? What is a high Sabbath or high day? Being high day meant that it was an important or a great day, hence a high day. Why was it an important day? Because the day was the 15th day of Nisan, or the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, which was a rest day. In other words, a Sabbath day. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have no convocation. You shall do no servile work. Leviticus 23 verse 5 through 7. No matter what day of the week the 15th day of Nisan fell, it was going to be a rest. In other words, a Sabbath day or a day of rest. In the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No matter of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you. Exodus 12:16. Also read Numbers 28 verse 16 through 18. Is it possible to have 2 Sabbaths in 1 week? Without a question. Of course, yes. Is it possible to have 2 Sabbaths in 1 week? Simply because a holy day could fall in any day of the week. Here is a scripture taken from the book of Luke. It came to pass on the 2nd Sabbath after the first that he went through the cornfields, and his disciples plucked the ears of corn and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. Luke chapter 6 and verse 1. Notice how there was a 2nd Sabbath after the first. In other words, there could be 2 Sabbaths in 1 week. Such was the case when Jesus was crucified. Of certain, Jesus was crucified on the 14th day of Nisan, or Passover, for he became our Passover. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 6 through 8, Leviticus chapter 23 verse 5, Exodus chapter 12 verse 6 through 13. Preparation day. But admittedly, the following day was the 15th day of Nisan, a Sabbath day. No matter what day of the week it fell, Christ's body was taken down. Sabbath, no matter what day of the week it fell. Christ's body was taken down before 6 o'clock p.m. because that is when the Sabbath started in a Hebrew day. And the day of the week was a Wednesday. Consequently, because the bodies could not remain upon the cross on the holy Sabbath, Jesus' body was taken down from the cross to be laid on a tomb right before 6 o'clock p.m. Wednesday. Matthew 27 verse 58 through 60, Mark chapter 15 verse 42 through 46, Luke 23 verse 50 through 55, and John 19:31, 38 through 42. To fulfill scripture that Jesus had to be raised again after the 3rd day, Mark 8:31, and that he had to be in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights and resurrect on a Sunday, John chapter 20 verse 1, Jesus had to have been crucified on a Wednesday, as illustrated below. Wednesday 6 o'clock p.m. through Thursday 6 o'clock a.m. equals 1 night. Thursday 6 o'clock a.m. through Thursday 6 o'clock p.m. equals 1 night and 1 day. Thursday 6 o'clock p.m. through 6 o'clock a.m. equals 2 nights and 1 day. Friday 6 o'clock a.m. through Friday 6 o'clock p.m. equals 2 nights and 2 days. Friday 6 o'clock p.m. through Saturday 6 o'clock a.m. equals 3 nights and 2 days. And of course Saturday 6 o'clock a.m. through Saturday 6 o'clock p.m. equals 3 days and 3 nights. As you can see, without a doubt, Jesus was crucified on a Wednesday. So somewhere between Saturday 6 o'clock p.m. and Sunday 6 o'clock a.m., Jesus resurrected. Traditionally, the story is that Christ was crucified on a Friday. Is that even feasible or plausible? If he were to be 3 days and 3 nights in the tomb, and after the 3rd day, resurrect on a Sunday? Let's take a look. Friday, 6 o'clock p.m. through Saturday, 6 o'clock a.m. equals just 1 night. Saturday, 6 o'clock a.m. through Saturday, 6 o'clock p.m. equals 1 night and 1 day. Saturday 6 o'clock p.m. through Sunday 6 o'clock a.m. equals only 2 nights and 1 day. That's it. Obviously, in no way could Jesus be crucified on a Friday. As you observe, Saturday would only equal 1 full day, and Jesus vigorously stated that he would resurrect not only on the third day, Matthew 16:21, but after the third day, Mark 8:31. Since we know the day of the week Jesus was really crucified, the next step will be to look for a year that Passover fell on a Wednesday from 29 AD through 33 AD. For this is the year range, and most scholars agree on that Christ was crucified. Technology and the internet enables us to look at a Hebrew calendar of any year. Which 14th day of Nisan, the day of Christ was crucified, fell on a Wednesday from the years 29 AD through 33 AD. Here are the days of the week and year in which it fell. In 29 AD, the 14th day of Nisan fell on a Saturday. 30 AD, the 14th day of Nisan fell on a Wednesday. And 31st AD, or 31 AD, the 14th day of the Nisan also fell on a Wednesday. 32 AD, the 14th day of Nisan fell on a Monday. And 33 AD, the 14th day of Nisan fell on a Friday. Respectively, the only years that Jesus could have been crucified on a Wednesday would be the years 30 AD and 31 AD. Now we have narrowed down the years in which Christ could have been crucified to two probable years. However, most modern scholars do not even mention the year 31 AD as a possibility, but favor the date April 7, 30 AD, which fell on a Friday. As before described, Friday is completely out of the question. But Wednesday, April the 5th, 30 AD, is the day that Christ was crucified. Therefore, Sunday, April the 9th, 30 AD, is the day he resurrected. Thank you, and God bless.